It's David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be talking about playing multiple characters at the same time. And this is something I don't think you should do if you can avoid it. Obviously, the GM cannot avoid it. He's there, though, to sacrifice his fun to facilitate the fun of the players. Now, the players, you want to avoid this at all costs. If you have an animal companion, a familiar, a hireling, a henchman, a lackey, a twin brother, your best friend, your mama, whatever it is, you don't want to be switching back and forth, back and forth. I don't want to be, the great white hunter one moment and then his pet goanna the next moment. Because every time you switch characters, you switch from one mindset to another, it pulls you out of immersion. It pulls you out of character. And it takes a little while for you to actually get back in, to settle down into that character with the kind of depth that you want to have, so you can explore his mindset, his spirit, so that you can really get a feel for his worldview. So you all know I'm a purist. I want that. I want to be in character, to see the world through his eyes, to smell the wind with his nostrils, feel the dirt under my feet, and I don't want to switch out. I want to be immersed the whole time. If we're playing for 4 hours, I want to be in character for 5 hours. It's the name of the game, is why we're here, is to explore this other identity. So for me, anytime you have to jump back and forth, you have to pull out, you have to metagame, you have to get chips, anything where you're not your character. If you come back to being yourself, that's not good either. But you definitely don't want to come in and waste more time by jumping in as another NPC, because you're going to lose the depth. So I just wanted to kind of do a video to remind people of that. I'd previously done one, but the view count was very low. That was about 2 years ago. So I just wanted to say again, stop playing your animal companion. You're going to shortchange yourself. You're either going to have less fun on both counts, or you're going to forget your animal companion and you're going to bury your gimmick because it's forgotten. So if you have an animal companion, throw that on the GM. If he doesn't want to run it, maybe just don't have an animal companion. If it's too much stress for him to have another character, because it's definitely too much stress for you to have another character. And I've seen this happen. The animal companion gets forgotten. The familiar gets forgotten. Bob the cleric gets forgotten. People trying to play twin brothers, and they get into one of them more so than the other for whatever reason. So it's going to damage your immersion. It's going to damage your experience. Or it's going to damage your gameplay. And those are all bad. Now, so that's all on the player side. As a player, don't do it. Focus, stay in character at all times. Don't break character, because you're going to have more fun if you do it that way. Because it's going to be more fun for the people around you if you're deeper in character as well. So coming back to the GM, now you're at the point where you have to play multiple characters. So you have to have these kind of surface level impressions of multiple people all at the same time, especially if you're in something like, the ballroom scene, the mass combat scene, religious ritual. If you're doing the market, you have multiple shopkeepers, multiple nobles, multiple warriors. You have to kind of jump back and forth. I usually make my list out. It's like, these are the guys that are in the room. I got 4 guys, I got 8 guys, whatever it is. Just go from the top down. Oh, he does this. This guy is thinking that, but he doesn't do anything. But I know that he's thinking about it. That girl is checking out the first guy, and move down. And you got to kind of rotate them out, in initiative order. Because if you get too immersed in only one of them and you forget about the other ones, it's going to impact the reality of the world, the gameplay experience for your players. And I'm sure we've all been GMs and we forgot that a character was there. Like, oh, I should have been role-playing this guy the whole time. He probably would have stepped in and things would have turned out differently if I'd remembered. So as a GM, you can't get as deeply as immersed as a player. even if you want to. It's just not your job. If you try to be a player and get into character that deeply, you might shortchange your players. You might shortchange your plot, and you don't want to do that. It's disappointing to them. It's letting them down. You've got to make the sacrifice for them to say, okay, I'm going to have 8 characters, and I'm going to run down the list, and each one's going to get, 1 action from GURPS, or 2 actions if you're Savage Worlds, or 20 actions if it's Pathfinder, whatever it is that you're doing, so that you can have that deep sandbox for them to play around in. So you kind of have to turn yourself into the 7-headed Hydra, be looking in every direction at once as a GM, know what's behind you, what's above you, what's below you, what's going on all over the place. And organization is tremendously important. I'm probably going to do another GM organization video pretty soon. The first one was solid, but I could probably do a better one at this point. But at the very least, every scene, list who's in it, move down the list, loop back up, move down the list. Can be just that simple. So those are my thoughts on running multiple characters, why the GM can't get that deeply immersed. He's got to make that sacrifice. Why the player should be that immersed, because it's going to facilitate more realistic actions, more interesting actions, more interesting interactions, and that will make everyone have more fun because you're deeper in character, and that's what we're here for at the table. So let me know what you think about running multiple characters. For GMs, do you have any tips to help them do that? For players, do you have a different perspective? Do you think there are times when it can improve your immersion somehow? I don't see how it could, but I'm open to the idea. So let me know that in the comments below. And until I see you again, good day and good game.